Hey guys, I am here pre-Hurricane Irma. We have not evacuated because we are not in a flood zone. So they basically said, if you're not in a flood zone, you do not need to evacuate. Of course, the storm has shifted a little west since that original advice, but still, it's kind of good advice that holds true. So I don't know if you can see behind me, that big area back there is what's called a retention pond. So all the water naturally flows into this from the neighborhood, and we live in pretty much the highest part of this part of the city, so we do think we're safe from any flooding, having not been designated ever as any kind of zone that should ever get flooded. So who knows, once in a lifetime, but technically we have no worries on that front. Now on the other front, what we also have is a nice house that was built 3 or 4 years ago, and so the windows are solid, everything is good to go. And so we feel like we're pretty safe here. I understand that if you've watched the news for like 5 minutes, what's going to happen is you scare the Jesus out of yourself. And I fully understand that. I have turned the TV off. I saw the track. I will check back in a couple of hours. Meanwhile, I will show you some of my preparations inside. I will tell you that my husband's actually a little ridiculously excited about the storm. And pretty much all of our friends with kids have evacuated for good reason, because it's the noises and you don't want to scare the kids. But not being, well, we're kid-like, but not being kids, we think we will be okay. But they didn't come collect my trash today, so I'm not sure if they're going to. And that's, you know, that's a primary concern. Okay, I'll show you some of my preparations inside. Now, so I'm going to show you some of the stuff that we've done so people don't have to worry. Like, there are kind of some primary concerns in a hurricane, I'm told, I read. So I have CNN on the TV right now, and really it's just terrifying when you watch the TV. I don't think the reality of what you need to do to prepare for a hurricane is nearly as bad as the fear-mongering. Like, everybody is calling me, and I really appreciate that. You can call me all day long, no problem at all, but I want you not to worry, and the best way not to worry is to stop watching the news, especially CNN. This is like the highlight of a meteorologist's life, so they cannot help but get excited about these giant swirls and the next storm coming in. So I am not overly worried, mostly probably because Michael's not overly worried. He's ready, happy, and willing to sit it out here. If it gets to a 4 or a 5 before it hits us, we'll go to a shelter probably. They are local schools, and at least there'll be kind of other people to sit it out with, and they're all within a mile. So again, please don't worry, please stop watching the news. But if you want to see what I have been doing to prepare, then I will show you a few things. So your primary concerns are, for regular people, what if your water goes out? I won't have anything to drink with or bathe in. Well, you don't have to worry about bathing, but there are some other body functions. And then the other thing that people worry about is obviously food, and what if something comes through the windows, and what if the electric goes out? So it's kind of those 4 what ifs really. So in terms of water, we have like a big, here, I might as well start showing you stuff. We have this guy here. So that's like a 5-gallon jug. We have another couple in the garage. It takes us about 3 days, 4 days on average to get through one of those. So we are good for quite a while. I also have a ton of bottled water in the fridge. I've also been boiling in my hot water kettle a ton of water just to kind of have separately for other stuff. And on top of that, we have a fridge full of beer. So, and sodas. So we are not going to die of dehydration. I can guarantee you that, even if they come in 3 weeks or 4 weeks to find us. So don't worry about that, people. Food-wise, a lot of people buy junk food because it's stuff you don't need to cook or worry about. I don't want to make Irma my excuse for piling on yet more pounds. So the farthest I'm going with that is I am going to boil up some pasta in a minute, because you can eat that cold. I'm boiling up some eggs. I think we're gonna make some popcorn. That's kind of the snack. I'm resisting the temptation to make cupcakes and that kind of stuff, which you can eat for days. I just don't want to. So, and I eat when I'm bored anyway, at the best of times. So I'm gonna see how much of that we can avoid. I do have some snacks in the house, but my path to Irma is not through bags of chips. Okay, other stuff. So if your power goes out, it will go out. It goes out here regularly. The question is how quickly it comes back on related to the damage. So we have a bunch of flashlights. I have a ton of batteries already sitting out. So I'm gonna have like a little personal one. And then we've got this guy that actually opens up. So plenty of that. I also have like 12 of these flameless battery-driven candles. So actually I have like, oh, sorry, can't see me. We have a lot of batteries in the house. So we might actually get through a good store of the batteries this weekend. So that's fine. I'm not even worried about light in that sense. The only thing that's going to be somewhat inconvenient is, you can see I'm quite warm. them running around, the AC is probably going to go. We have a couple of fans. I've brought those guys out. So my neighbor is a prepper. That means that he is prepared for basically World War III in the terms of a zombie apocalypse or a Terminator kind of end of the world war, or the collapse of the economic stability in the country. So I know, and this is why I really don't want anybody to worry, is I know I can go next door and be perfectly well fed and watered and cooled next door and get internet next door. So all of those things will be available to me. I just don't feel the need to go impose myself on him unnecessarily. And I really don't need a generator for these instances taking up my garage and all of the other stuff. So that's the thing I think that we'll think about for next time, is a generator to keep the house cool. But I do have like a bunch of crystals that help pull moisture out of the air, so that at least maybe will help keep the humidity down a little bit. But remember, the storm is not going to be here that long. It's just a matter of how long it takes them to get electricity back up and running. Oh, and I have a ton of like regular candles, but like if we're honest, a regular candle is probably the least safe thing that you can have. Open flame, not the best of things in a house. Just not sure where in the house we will sit. They say don't pick a place with a lot of windows. My house generally has a good amount of light and windows, so yeah, we'll just find a place. We'll be fine. So the other, actually, the biggest concern in our family, for anybody who knows us, is how will we drink coffee if there's no electricity? Because we pretty much mainline coffee here. So I'm going old school. Look, it's Mr. Coffee. He's come out of the closet. Well done, Mr. Coffee. And make a batch of cold coffee. Have that sitting around in a couple more of these jugs. I've got a few more in the dishwasher. So got a ton of ice. It's got like a cooler thing that I'm going to pack so that we don't have to open up the fridge too often. Certainly, I think we'll get through the first, get through Sunday with this guy maybe, if we can. And then that way, if we don't have power, like all of the fridge and freezer will remain intact, cold. And then after that, as we take stuff out, so I actually need to turn the temperature of that down as my preparation too. So I hope that people can see that, you know, I'm going to fill my bathtub with water so we can use the toilets and everything else. I hope that people can see that I'm very comfortable in my house versus in a hotel 200 miles away with all the panic that went with that. For all of my friends who have kids, that's 100% the right decision. For anybody in a flood zone, 100% the right decision. We don't have either of those. So for us, this is the right decision, but I hope everybody is safe and well. Please don't worry about me. I'm going to sign up to Zello, which allows people to kind of do some contact without electricity, as long as they still have Wi-Fi. No idea if I'm going to still have Wi-Fi. So please don't worry if you haven't heard from me. I will post onto Facebook if I can. And if I can't, thanks for watching. Please go ahead and click subscribe if you're interested in watching more about my Floridian adventures, my road trip adventures, and general fun stuff that